got it. Yeah. Okay, alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum jamiyan, and thank you very much for joining us for this next session. Today I believe is the 7th fast, right? Is that correct? Is the 7th fast? Yeah. And this is our 7th session. That means we have been discussing about why we chose this topic, and I just gave the 4 reasons. I did not come to the 5th reason, part 5. Shall we come to it later on, because we are discussing for these 2-3 days the responses to the question which I had sent. So because of that, I want to spend time on that. Inshallah, we'll continue with one or two more reasons. So let us come to a hadith which I prepared for today's presentation. Then we'll come to the question and also responses from the participants. Okay. So we go to next hadith. This is interesting. This hadith is, again from the 6th Imam Jafar Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And of course, all the narrations names are given there. We will not get into that, but we'll just start with here. An Ubaidillah bin Hussein and Hassan bin Harun. Qala qali Abu Abdullah. So Al-Hassan bin Harun says that Abu Abdullah told me, that means the 6th Imam told him, Inna as-sam'a wal-basara wal-fuada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'ula. What you find in the bowl is from the Quran. It is Quranic verse, and what we have done here is that we have put into bracket that reference from where Quran is there. In the original work, what reference is there in the footnote. And then it says, Qala yus'alu sam'a amma sami'a wal basaru amma nadhara ilayhi wal fuadu amma uqida alayhi. Subhanallah. So let us look at this thing. And you'll find often that Imams quote Quranic verses. This serves 2 purposes, as far as our understanding is there. One purpose is that you can see that many of these ideas, what we have today in the Hadith, are actually explanation of the Quran. That they try to explain to us Quran. That means applying Quran in our daily life. How do we do that? So Imam would take an ayat of Quran and just explain it. Or sometimes, it is also for us to realize that how much these Quranic or hadiths are intertwined with Quranic verses. For example, even Saif al-Zadiyah, which is a dua from the 4th Imam, but technically it's hadith because it comes from the Imam, right? So the translator, William Chittick, when he translated this thing, he said, I was so much surprised. I was amazed to see that so many parts of the dua are intertwined with Quranic verses. It's not surprising because Prophet says, Inni tarikun fikum mustaqilin kitabullah itrat, that I have just left with you 2 precious things, book of Allah and my itrat, and they would not separate until they meet in Hawd. So it is not surprising. So keep this thing, that 2 things is always minimum. One is that it's explanation of the Quran. So we try to understand Quranic verses the way Imams understood, and they are the best. We believe that the Prophet was the best Mufassir, and after him comes, of course, the Imam. They were the best Mufassir, they would understand Quran better. And that's why all Mufassirun, we find of our Mufassirun, they would use the Hadith to explain certain things. A great commentator like Allama Tabatabai, who first would use Quran to explain the Quran, but then at the end, he has a section on traditions. So he does put there, quite interesting. And of course, the ideas intertwine. So we come to this thing. Now, before we just look at the translation, and then we will come into some discussion. So Imam says, beginning right from the Quranic ayat, Inna sama wal basara wal fuada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'ula. Surely the ears and the eyes and the heart, all of these shall be questioned about that. No. Mas'ul is for su'al. That means you are responsible. Mas'ul. Now, for example, there is a famous hadith of the Prophet. كلكم مسؤول وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Let me try to forget. كلكم Okay, in any case, the Prophet said that each one of you, كلكم راع وكل مسؤول عن. Yeah, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Especially on fasting, I'll be careful. So Prophet says, كلكم راع, that all of you are shepherd. كلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. All of you are responsible regarding your, regarding your flock. So that others that no mas'ul is that you're responsible. So Allah says, Inna sama, indeed the hearing, wal basara, and the seeing, wal fuada, the heart, right? Kullu ulaika kana an mas'ula. They're all responsible. Now, why mention these three particular faculties? Hearing, seeing, and then of course heart. So scholars tell us that these are the gateway to knowledge. Our knowledge, whatever we have, over all these years which we have collected, depending on your age, that the gateway to that is either what we hear or what we see. And then, of course, after hearing and seeing, how we digest it, how we think it, how we process it, right? It is then the heart and mind and all those things, it will help us to process those things. It's quite interesting. And then, subhanAllah, Allah in Al-Mizan, this is Al-Mizan, which if I get tomorrow time to either find online or to write it there, so you know exactly what it is. But I'll just read one or two passages just to get an idea that how he explained. In fact, subhanAllah, just explaining this, he starts this ayat, of course, the first part. The first part is Bismillah ar-Rahman, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ, no, and not follow that of which you have no knowledge. That's how it is. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ. Then, of course, comes Inna sama wal basara wal fuada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'ula. So the first part is that do not follow. Takfu, that means do not follow that which you have no any knowledge, because you are responsible for what you are doing. So it's very important. So he says here, in effect, it effectively includes all the knowledge. Do not believe that of which you have not any knowledge. Do not say that of which you have not any knowledge. Do not do that which of you have not any knowledge. So you can see, it says, effectively, do not believe that of which you have not any knowledge. So first of all, believe. Just don't believe things because my parents are doing it, or my friends are doing it, or because it just is attractive to me. No. If you have no knowledge, do not believe. Then he says, do not say that not say that of which you have not any knowledge. This is the worst thing. People want to just go on chatting and speaking and giving their opinion when they have no knowledge. There's a beautiful hadith, I believe, from either 90 Imam, one of the Imams, but one of the Imams, he says, he says, if ignorant just would remain silent, would not give his opinion, then you will not find people having differences. The differences come about when ignorant opens his mouth. You see, so you can see that here I said that do not say that of which you have not any knowledge. Do not do that of which you have not any knowledge. Not only say. So you can see he says three things: belief, saying, and also speaking, saying, and also what do not do, and do not do all the action of which you do not have knowledge. It is very important that we seek knowledge about things. And this is a very common thing. Anybody, for example, you'll find you would like to have your house painted, right? You will not just give to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You will inquire and see, okay, which person has done it? For example, you ask him, do you have any kind of experience? So he will give references, for example. Then you'll ask, have you painted in one of the community members? So yes, so and so. Then you will call that person. Although he says that, for example, I painted at Ali's house. Now maybe he and Ali will talk that, for example, when somebody calls you, you just say good. But even then you will not be satisfied. You'll call that Ali and say, okay, Did this painter paint your house? How did you find it? Was it reliable? Did you know? So you can see actions or saying things or believing things has to be based on knowledge. And the source of knowledge, the gateway to knowledge, is what it is, the Sam'a wal Basar al Fuad. And of course, Allama Tabai has a lot of discussion, which we will not get into just now, but it is quite interesting that he has what included here, a number of things here. And as I was preparing for this presentation, I was really amazed at what he said. And in fact, then he's quoting, he says that as far as Majmul Bayan is concerned, he's quoting another tafsir, he says, it means do not say, I heard while you have not heard. Do not say, I saw while you have not seen. And do not say, I know what you have done. No. This is how Ibn Abbas and Qatada have interpreted, subhanAllah. So then, Allama Tabatabai is quoting another hadith of Majmul Bayan, and then saying that Ibn Abbas and Qatada, these are the oldest Mufassirun, besides Prophet and Imams, amongst the earliest Mufassirun, Ibn Abbas and Qatada, right? He says they understood this how. He says, do not say I heard while you've not heard. Do not say I saw while you've not seen. Do not say I know while you not know. So you can see we freely, for example, say, oh, I saw this thing, I heard this thing. And when somebody asks you more, then we cannot, for example, try to give more information because we were just based on our thinking, we just on our conjecture. So it's an interesting thing. But Imam says here, after that the ears will be questioned regarding what they heard, the eyes with regard to what they looked at, and the heart regarding what it believed. Al-fuadu amma uqida bihi. For example, about Aqidah. Aqidah, right, is the belief. Aqaid is theology. Aqaid is the branch of Aqaid. Ilm al-Aqaid is about theology. So you say, Al-fuadu amma uqida alayhi. And the heart will be questioned about what it believes. So even heart, for example, what we believe will be questioned, that we just cannot believe because we sometimes human being is so naive that if the speaker is very powerful, is mesmerizing, right? Then immediately we just take it. Of course, they have the speaker has that art. Allah has given him that art to speak so well, which is fine. And he or she is trying to convince his point, which is also fine. That's what they are doing. But we also are responsible. We will not say, oh, because I heard it from Asnan, just I believe it. No. Allah says, I gave you the hearing, I gave you the eyes, I gave you the heart. It was your duty to take it, try to understand it, digest it, understand it, right, process it, and then believe it. So it's important that we go through these processes. It's a good hadith, and this is part of jihad al-nafs, that as we are trying to develop ourselves and fight against all those wrong insinuations and whisperings are there, we have to keep in mind this hadith. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah give us the faith to use these faculties as Imam has told us. If tomorrow, if I have good time, I may also include some more sayings regarding this, inshallah. We come to this question which we posed. I said yesterday that there is a book, Sunan al-Nabi. So this is the book, this is my copy. As Dr. Mandani told us that it is out of print, at least he could not find it. I was at the bookstore yesterday, but I forgot to ask them. But I won't be surprised if it's out of print. We hope that some translator would try to find some other publisher who would then print on demand. But it is, as I said, it is a book you should keep in your living room, because when you sit with your family to look at a program or discuss something, it will be a very good practice to open the book, Sunan Nabi, and just take one hadith and just discuss about it. One more thing here, you can see in this hadith, Imam Ali himself is telling somebody, says, should I tell you about myself in Fatima? So you can imagine that even Imams used to actually talk about their own personal life, especially when it came to something which would benefit others. So there's nothing wrong in it. That, for example, if Allah has given you the ability to be among scholars, or if somebody who has read a lot, one of you, for example, some of you here spend a lot of time with the scholars, or if you spend time in reading, it's good to share with others. You can see Imam Ali is talking about their personal life, to the extent that they said that we were there in the bed, and Rasulullah came. But the idea is that they were trying to just tell us how we can benefit. So coming to the responses yesterday, we discussed yesterday, today this is it. Due to Allah's mercy, as it would be difficult for most of us to have perfect fast, our goal, whether we are in Ramadan or not, to purify our soul, and fasting can achieve this goal, right? It's a goal of a lifetime, but until we get there, Allah accepts our physical path. So you can see the person is trying to tell us that because we are just in the process of perfection, and that is why immediately these things do not keep make a fast batil. So that's a good point, that it's a lifetime now. And of course, then says the fast has invalidated fast. Maybe I think she meant it did not prohibited fast because no action is taken physically, but by consuming a drink, not bread, smoke, or ask the forgiveness, pay some sadaqah, and if something happens, then you say. So this is the answer one of the sisters had sent us. Now I will pause here and take questions now. Let me see in the chat now.
Yeah, thanks, Sheikh. If anyone has questions, they can now unmute themselves and feel free to ask or put their question in the chat.
Assalamu alaikum. Can I take the photo of the hadith, the one you discussed today? Is it possible?
What do you want? Photo, yeah.
I would like to. Can you share the first hadith you shared today? I want to take a photo. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Jazakallah.
Okay, so we come to what there's a chat somebody has put here. Interesting point that today is alhamdulillah 7th fast, so about 1/4 of this holy month is done. Yes, indeed. But I still do not feel the spirituality that I should be feeling. I feel no different than I did before Ramadan. Why? Am I lacking? How can I improve myself so I can make the most of remaining month? Very good observation. And yes, of course, you can take the picture of the hadith by all means. You're welcome. Anybody can take pictures of the hadith. Feel free. This is a good question. First of all, the fact that you don't feel that spiritual, that itself is a good thing. That you are thinking that I am trying to achieve something, I'm not achieving it. I'm not. So at least that the mindset is there that you want to achieve it. That's a very good point. Now, of course, how do we go about achieving it? We really hope that what are doing these courses, this will help. But besides that, as in one of these earlier we said, if you remember, when was it? When we said that if you remember, at one stage we were told that try to stay away from as much as from worldly things. So see that if there are certain worldly things or affairs which are coming in the way, what happens is that, let me see if I can find that hadith, but no, sometimes what happens that our attachment to this world is so much that it clouds, it just comes in the way for us to achieve this spirituality. And this is the month of Ramadan. I always say to my friends and people that try to decrease your work in the month of Ramadan. Of course, we who do this work, for example, of preaching, we are most busy in Ramadan. But this is because we are doing for the people, right? It's a different thing. But besides that, for example, if you have any kind of business or work or anything, see if you can make it lighter, because then that it will give you time for you to benefit from the du'as, from the munajat, from istighfar, from namaz, right? There are different ways of trying to just get connected. So if there is a way that, for example, you can stay away from worldliness as much as possible, that may help, inshallah. We have a feeling that could help. And besides that, of course, whatever you have for example, of whatever you like of the du'as. Try to find some subhanAllah, we are fortunate, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, that we have so much heritage from Ahlul Bayt regarding du'as. So choose one of the du'as or section within dua which are so powerful, read it again, ponder over it now. It will really help. For example, Dua Joshan Kabir, Dua Abu Somali, these are long du'as. Dua Iftitah, for example, right? Dua Mujib, we recite this thing. Dua Kumar we recite throughout the year. But something which is especially for Ramadan, for example, if you can look at them and see if that can help, inshallah.
Which one you prefer? Which dua is better? Because
for me, subhanAllah, there are many du'as. Of course, the most powerful du'a which really moves me is Dua Abu Hamza Somali. But of course, all
Abu
du'as
Hamza
are powerful.
Somali?
Dua Abu Hamza Somali. It's a long du'a. So, of course, you cannot complete in one gathering. So, maybe you can recite a part and then next night it is dua for Sahari. Just before Sahari, you recite the dua. So, let's say, for example, today the namaz time was what, 5:38. So, let's say, maybe perhaps if you've done your Sahari or after Sahari or before Sahari around 4 a.m. start. But you don't need to, as Ayatollah Khomeini says, that we are not in the spiritual level of Imam Sajjad that we can recite the entire dua in one gathering. You can do it over time.
Okay. One more question, Sheikh. Sorry. What is the kafara for Ramzan? Because my mother-in-law, she is sick. She is 85-year-old. She usually
I not
fasts.
take questions on fiqh. So what you can do, you can just email me. Because if you just get into fiqh, then we will just be, distracted. Because fiqh questions, there are so many and there is no end to it. So I saw that if you really have some fiqh question, either you ask Maulana locally, or if you don't have, you can email me, inshallah. I'll answer the question. Plus, I'm also afraid that I may not answer the question correctly if I'm not
okay, just kafara. How much will be the kafara? That's it.
Kafara is depending. No, is that what? Just send your question, inshallah.
Okay.
And we will try.
Okay.
Any other questions we have? Okay, so let me just switch off the recording so that before that,
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
inshallah.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you, everyone.